Busan is South Korea's second largest city, and there is a ton of local food to eat here.
You have got to see all the amazing local food we will be eating in this video.
Busan is a food paradise. We're going to be eating on the street and in restaurants to show you the best food Busan has to offer. Make sure you watch to the end because there is some incredible food in this video. I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate. We hope you're hungry. Let's eat.
Busan is a port city, so as such, it is very well known for its seafood. There is incredible looking seafood all over this city. And one of the forms of seafood that Busan is really famous for is its eomuk, or fish cakes. They are everywhere, and because of the high quality and freshness of the seafood, they are very well known here. So I have one that you see quite a lot when you're in Busan, and it is a sausage, but that's I'd say a pork sausage with a fish cake wrapped around it. And if I turn the fish cake around, you can see it's filled with different things. So it looks like some spring onions, maybe some chives, some carrot in there, and then that very thin fish cake just wrapped around the little sausage. Let's give it a go. Oh wow. Oh, really hot. Oh, it's so hot. Okay, I got there. The sausage is like a hot dog sausage, and that actually has some carrots inside too. But this is all about the fish cake. And the flavor of the fish cake actually goes really well with that sausage. You can still taste the fish cake, and it's very soft and spongy. It's not chewy at all. It's not an overriding fish flavor. It's just a very clean fish flavor. And I love how this one has been grilled, so you can see the goldenness. So it's got a slight crispiness to it as you eat it, which adds another texture. That is a really, really neat little combo. And I can't wait to spend more time in Busan trying the huge variety of fish cakes that you see on every corner. There is so many to try.
A winter favorite in Busan is this dish, Yubu Jeomoni, which are these tofu bags which are stuffed with glass noodles, and they're languishing in this broth. So the broth, let me just taste it and see what it's like. Oh, is really, I've got the vendor behind me just watching me as I tasted the broth, and I said that it was delicious. It's got some dried chilies in there, there's some spring onion and some cabbage, but the underlying flavour is a seafood flavour. It's really delicious. And then you've got these tofu bags. So inside the tofu are some vegetables, there's some greens, some carrots, and then those glass noodles. Let's give this a taste. That is super delicious. The tofu, which is fried, is soaked up all of that broth, and then the glass noodles are just really slippery. There's a bit of crunch from the vegetables. I can see why this is a favourite. It's so cold here in Busan today, and this is warming me right up.
Another item you have to eat when you're in Busan is Milmeyon, which is a type of noodle made from wheat and potato starch. We're gonna have them in a dish in this restaurant here. Let's go check it out. We have a dish here with those noodles in it. So this dish is called Milmeyon, and look how pretty it is for starters. It is a stunning looking dish, but let's talk through what it's all made up of. So you can see the noodles that I've already talked about down below. So they're the potato starch and wheat flour noodles. We've got this huge lump of chili sauce here. There is some pickled radish. there is some beautiful julienned slices of pear. There's also some julienned slices of cucumber, quite a lot of cucumber actually. There's a little delicate thin piece of pork on top, a very thinly cut piece of boiled egg, and it's all sitting in a cold broth, and you can actually see the ice in that broth. So this dish is normally a summer dish because it's filled with ice. It's definitely not summer here today. It is actually under freezing, so it's very cold. So this is not the perfect time of year to be eating this, but it's definitely a specialty of Busan, so we just had to have it. I'm gonna give everything a huge mix up and just get everything together. I really want to get that chili sauce all through this broth. Actually no, I want to try this broth first before I mix everything through. Wow, it's really tangy. It tastes like French mustard, so seeded mustard. Very tangy, very thin, like a watery thin broth, and then with those tiny bits of ice floating around inside. Right, let's mix it all up. I don't really want to ruin it, it's just so pretty, but these things have to be done. Oh, so that sauce underneath, there is a lot of that chili sauce there. Wow, and a huge pile of those noodles. That's amazing. All right, you can see the broth changing color dramatically now that chili sauce has been mixed through. And kind of when I've mixed it there, you can get a good idea of how simple this is ingredients wise. There's not too much going on at all. Let's try some of the broth now that it's got the chili in it. Oh, okay. So before it was kind of tangy, tasted just like eating a spoonful of mustard. It was nice, but it wasn't overly amazing. It sort of tasted like a chickeny, mustardy flavor. Now it's really rounded. It's got that chili sauce in it. It tastes great. But this is all about the noodles. These are the specialty. So let's try these. So a wheat and potato starch noodle. Really bouncy. Oh, they've got a great flavor. Noodles I find sometimes can just be a bit of nothing, but these have a taste. They're coated in that broth obviously and the chili now, so they have that flavor, but they have a sort of a potato-y taste, but then the texture is nothing like potato. It's just a bouncy, springy texture. They are really good noodles, really good. I want to get a big perfect bite, so let's get in here. We'll get some of these noodles. We've got this egg, this big piece of pork, put some radish on there. We'll get some cucumber actually, and also there's some condiments here on the table. So there's this little very runny mustard, and there's also some white vinegar. So I'm going to do a little sprinkle of each of those just in the dish. So you can see how runny that mustard was. I'll put a little bit of vinegar. After my first mouthful, I wouldn't have put the vinegar because it was so tangy, but now that it's mixed with the chili, it's actually, I think it will add quite a lot. Let's give that a little mix. Right, let's get this mouthful with all these goodies. Oh, big mouthful. That mustard really added to it. That was a beautiful thing to bring out the flavors. It's definitely not the right time of year to be eating this. The fact that it is cold, and not just cold, it is freezing cold because of that ice in there. It doesn't feel quite right to be as cold as I am already and then eating this, but it is a really beautiful dish. The flavors are very well rounded, nothing jumps out too much. It's very tasty. It is totally worth having. Something I forgot to talk about was the length of these noodles. So they make them really long because it signifies long life and longevity. So they always put a pair of scissors on the table. Now actually, in all truth, these ones aren't that long, so they're really easy to manage. But the scissors are on your table, so you can just chuck them in the bowl and cut up the noodles so you can get them to a much more bite-sized size. like I said, these ones didn't really need it. You can easily just pile them in, but that is why there's scissors on your table. And these are a huge thing in Korea actually. Scissors is part of cooking. If you go to, say, Korean barbecue, you'll always have scissors to cut up the meat. So it's a cool little fun element of eating in Korea.
Our next stop is for one of Busan's most beloved dishes, daeji gukbap, a pork rice soup. And you can see behind me these huge stock pots filled to the brim with pork bones and that broth just bubbling away. Let's head inside and grab a bowl of this stuff. This Samjin. So our bowls of daeji gukbap have arrived and they're served in these stone bowls, and oh my gosh, this soup looks pretty spectacular. So the broth itself is quite milky in colour. It's a really thin broth. There's some spring onions, there's heaps of slices of thinly cut pork, and then you can see the rice in there as well. So it's all mixed together, and then a dollop of, I think what might be samjang has been put on top. So samjang is a mix of gochujang, which is a red chili pepper paste, and soybean paste. And so that's all been mixed together and it's become this dollop of sauce on top. And now with your soup, you also get all these accompaniments. So we've got some kimchi here, so that's fermented cabbage with chili. There's some garlic chives with what looks to be some red pepper flakes on top. There's some onions, raw garlic and raw green chili peppers. There's some tiny salted shrimp. There's some more soybean or fermented soybean paste, and then there's some yellow noodles. So basically all of this in front of me is fair game to be dumped into this soup. But what I'm going to do is just try some of the broth by itself first. I'm not even going to mix in that chili paste. Let's just give that broth a go. Whoa, it's really intense in pork flavour, but it's actually quite a clean tasting broth. And this is a really time consuming dish to make, because as you can see out the front, they've got those stock pots filled with the pork bones, and they boil them for hours and hours before they then remove the bones and then add pork meat and then some other seasonings, so miso and rice wine and sesame oil and soy sauce, and then it becomes this dish. What I'm going to do now is just mix it all up and get those flavours going. Alright, there's so much pork in here. It is crazy. This is going to be so filling. Alright, let's give that a go. So it still hasn't added, like that chili paste hasn't added too much flavour. So what I'm going to do is just add some of this salted shrimp. So these tiny shrimp are going to be really, really salty, and I think they're going to add a bit of that savoury kick to the soup. So let's just dump those in there. And then I might add some of these garlic chives. I love this stuff. Dump all of that in there and then give it a mix, and hopefully that adds a bit of a savoury kick. Okay, let's just try some of that pork. It's so thinly sliced, and you can see that the meat is laced with a bit of that pork fat. Oh, this is going to be good. The pork is really tender. Let's just give some of these garlic chives a go, and then a bit of that rice and some of that pork. This looks like a really good mouthful. There's this really huge piece of fat there. Look at that. That's just going to hopefully melt in my mouth. Alright, let's go. Oh, wow. That fat just melts in your mouth. The meat is so tender. Those salted shrimp added a real savoury kick. Oh, this is just to die for. This dish is unreal. What I love about it is how I've been able to add all these different accompaniments, and it's created these different layers of flavor. So I added this soybean paste, and it just gave the dish such a savoriness. It was incredible. And then I added some of these green chilies, and that added some firiness, so there's a little bit more heat in the soup. This is just, it is just insanely delicious. The broth is now so savory. It's so intense in flavor. The pork flavor is really strong. The rice has still got texture, and you've got the crispness of those vegetables, so the garlic chives, the fresh onion, the fresh garlic, the fresh chili. You have to eat this dish when you're in Busan.
You cannot visit Busan and not eat this seafood. This is a port city. It is surrounded by water. So in turn, there is seafood everywhere to be sampled. So we're at Jagalchi Fish Market, where we are going to have our next snack, and this place is brilliant. You have to come here and explore all around. That big building behind me is the biggest fish market in Korea, but we're actually at the outside portion of the market, where there is seafood laid out on tables, people buying, people selling. It's all action. There are so many people and so much seafood here, but there's also food to eat. So let's go and find our next snack.
We've just walked past a lineup of restaurants that are frying fresh fish out the front, and the smells are irresistible. Let's head inside.
I said we were heading in for a snack. It's not a snack. This is a full-blown meal. So out the front they were grilling fresh all these different types of fish, and we've ended up with 3 different sorts. This one here is hairtail fish, and I'm really interested to try this. You see it in the markets all over Korea. It's a very long, thin fish with basically no tail and beautiful silver color, so I'm very interested in that. And then we have these 2 other fish, so this guy and this guy. I do not know what type of fish they actually are, but they're both a white fish, and look how golden they are from being fried in the oil on that hot plate. Unreal. Let's rip a bit of this hairtail fish off. Oh, and so with this meal as well, we have some soup here, we have some banchan, which are all the sides. Looks like some chives here with some garlic in, some radish with chili on it, there's a little bit of soy, we've got some rice, it goes on and on. Let's rip some of this hairtail fish off. Oh, it's quite soft. Oh, there's quite a lot of little bones in there. So it's like, you can see this is the whole sort of side fillet of the fish, just a portion of it. It's a very long fish. You can see the little bones and the backbone, so it's quite hard to rip a piece off. I've just got a little piece with some beautiful gold crunchy bit on the outside. I'm just going to try it naked by itself. Ooh, quite a salty burst. A great fish flavor, obviously, but in the way that it sort of has an ocean taste. A bit more than I was expecting, more seafoody tasting than I was expecting. I'm going to rip a bit more off because I just want to get another good sample of that. It was quite hard to break up. Oh yes, got that bit there. Look at the dark where it's going to be even more crunchy. I'll grab 2 bits there. Now this one we've got a little bit of soy, so I'm just going to dunk it ever so slightly. Excuse me, ever so slightly in that soy. Oh, that's a beautiful flesh. And the way it's being grilled on that hot plate, it's got little crispy bits. It's quite oily. It definitely has taken on a portion of that oil, but not in a bad way. It's just in enough to like give it another sort of level of flavor. That is delicious. Let's try this other fish. I don't know what these 2 are, like I said, but I want to rip off some of this guy here and just try it. Oh, look how that flesh came away. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's amazing. Just peeled off. Bone structure in there, but that came away very easily. We'll go naked again. big, golden, crispy bit. That's a much more simple flavour. Much less salty, just a very simple white fish flavour. That beautiful crunch, a much more squishy flesh on that one too. Completely different texture. I love this. And when we start combining all this, because there's obviously the soup and all these banchan, it's going to be such a well-rounded meal with the white rice. What a cool place to come. And when they're all grilling it right on the footpath out there, so you're wandering through the market, looking at all the fish, and then you start smelling all that cooked fish coming from those grills or those hot plates. This is a winner of a meal.
Busan has a thriving street food culture. You will see food stalls everywhere. So we have come to our next stop, which is just outside one of the traditional local markets, Gukjae market here in Busan, and we have spotted a Ssiat hotteok stall. This is one snack that you have got to eat when you're in Busan, the seed-filled Korean pancake. This is a snack I guarantee you will become addicted to in Busan. So this is the Ssiat hotteok, and it is a sweet Korean pancake. And then the hotteok itself is a really popular street food in Korea. So it is a ball of dough, often made with either wheat flour or rice flour, and then it is dumped onto a hot plate which is filled with oil and sometimes butter. And then it's been filled with a sugar and cinnamon mixture, and it cooks away. But then the difference here in Busan is that they cut open the hotteok and then they fill it with a mixture of seeds. So you can see in there's a ton of pumpkin seeds, there's sunflower seeds, and there are also pine nuts. This is going to be one delicious snack. Let's give it a go. That is to die for. The dough is really crispy. It's really airy. It's soft, quite sticky. And then on the inside, that sugar and cinnamon mixture is so fragrant. And then you've got the earthiness of the seeds and the crunch from them. This is such a good snack.
That wraps up our tour of all the specialty foods in Busan. There is so much good food to eat here, and it's also so beautiful. I mean, we're on this stunning beach now to finish this. It's a stunning place. There is so much good food.
Remember to head down below, hit that subscribe button because we've got heaps more food videos to come. Hit that thumbs up button. Thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you next time. Annyeong!
Annyeong!